You're welcome back. If it's just joined us, you're watching Business Morning. We're coming to you live from Channels Television, reaching you from Lagos. And we have been talking about the economy at 54, I beg your pardon, 54 years of independence, and economic growth has moved from agrarian level to where we are right now, more modernized level in terms of achievement and growth that have been recorded in the economy. Vincent Iwani has been my guest. Is the Director of Research and Advocacy at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thank you, Vincent, for still being a part of the show.
Thank you.
I'd like us to move to the other side, like I said before we went on break. I know that there are a whole lot of things we need to work on as a country, and the economy is very key to the success of Nigeria. Of course, we all know that we're now the biggest economy in Africa. And like you said, how does it translate to quality lifestyle for Nigerians? Not just having to have a figure about over $500 billion in terms of the size of the economy. And just a few days ago, there was another African country that, after rebasing now, Kenya, talking about Kenya, Kenya is now the fourth largest economy in Africa, and surprisingly, it's just 1/10 in terms of the size of the economy, the value of the economy. Now, what do you think we need to do right? What areas should we begin to pay closer attention to? We may have been working on it before now, but what areas should we begin to look at right now to be able to move it forward and translate the rebasing size of the economy to, improve the lifestyle of every Nigerian?
We have to look at leadership, of course, and thank God that the platform for the leadership is already there and it's been sustained over the last 15 years. We're going for another one in 2015. That is democracy. We have to hold our democracy and treasure it even jealously at this time. But moving from just a stable democratic dispensation, again, we have to cultivate the right democratic values and culture. It's very important now. Powered by transparency, probity, accountability in a sincere fashion. It is very important. And somebody the other said that the level we are now in Nigeria has gone beyond just talking about democratic leadership, doing things well. We have to also carry along other strong leaders in this country, because we've seen that democratic leaders cannot really function and do everything just by themselves. Our traditional and cultural leaders, whether they are the biggest ones or the small, up to they have to take the cue. Even our religious institution, the leaders there also have to follow suit, so that these cultures will easily trickle down. We don't want to waste, or we don't want to spend another 54 years before we get to our desired promised land. There are other issues. Thank God for the last conference, the national conference I just said. Some of these issues have been trashed during that conference, and reports. It's ready. We have to look at issues concerning federalism again, because this federalism is one of the reasons we see restiveness. It's our own. True federalism. When I was small, they said Nigeria became a federation in 1963. I grew up. After the social study in primary school, I didn't see any federalism. We need to look at this federalism again, such that regions know that this is our own, this is how we want to govern ourselves, and congregate at the center in the right way, the way it is done in other jurisdictions we are copying. Even citizens have to be engaged more in democratic processes. It's very, very important. We need to cultivate a culture of patriotism. And somebody said the other day, I was listening on television, that patriotism doesn't just fall from heaven. Patriotism is connected. When an individual is connected with the institution, whether it is school, you see people, they say, which school do you attend? You hear King's College. They are they are patriotic about it. There are countries like America, God bless America. We want to see a Nigerian do those things, not just feeding us or putting food on our table, physical food on our table, but doing those things that will make us proud. A few weeks ago, Nigeria is at the verge of being declared Ebola free, and everybody is proud about it. I didn't have any brother or sister.
They're still Ebola free.
Yeah, of course, but everybody is proud of doing those things that will make us proud. making our military proud, defending some of these issues, rule of law, separation of power, making sure that the state, federal level, not just state, federal level, we've now recently we begin to see a lot of abuses on judiciary, making sure that judiciary is strong and effective and efficient, delivering judgment and justice, no matter who and where, and as fast as possible. Because justice delayed, they say the justice denied. These are areas we need to take very seriously. Law enforcement, you know, the culture of impunity, all of these need to be addressed. And somebody said, it's better we start addressing it at each level, wherever you are, as a husband, as a teacher, as great. But I can tell you that if we want it to trickle down and have the desired effect, it has to start from the top. Leaders living by example. If we see our leaders at any level, whether they are political, they are cultural, they are religious, doing the right thing, it is easier for that culture to trickle down. And
I think that not just about having to do something from the top, but everywhere you are as a Nigerian, exactly, you should do the right thing. Let's look at the issue of the economic environment for investors. The credit situation is still regarded as a major problem in the country, despite a lot of efforts to do some kind of specialized funding to give funds out at single-digit interest rates. We're still having issues with funding for business owners, for investors in Nigeria.
Yeah, these are the issues at the Lagos Chamber. Everybody knows us for talking about let the money, let the fund come out for business to thrive. We're still having challenges about that, whether in form of the cost of this credit, so high, even the access, because there are two different things, cost and access. Even when you want to borrow this money as an SME at 30%, one of the worst in the world, the access still becomes difficult. The collateral, the credit approval systems and application systems are still very, very rigid. But again, it's like I said, this is not a forum to talk about all negative or true. We're happy with the intervention funds, the regular intervention funds, sector-specific, gender-specific that we're seeing. We're not beginning, we're seeing that, and it keep on coming. Development institutions are powering that. CBN are also powering. About 220 billion naira was launched for SMEs the other day, and with a soft criteria or regulation for assessing the loan. These are what we want to see. If the commercial banks, if the infrastructure challenge, the cost is so heavy on the commercial banks that moving down to our desired single interest rate remains so difficult. We pray and we thank God and we appreciate the efforts of the federal government through CBN and other development institutions to keep on churning out these sector-specific intervention funds. These are what other jurisdictions did or are doing to boost their economy and stimulate it. The case in India is there for everybody to see what these sector-specific institutions and development institutions are doing in terms of access to credit. We appreciate the fact that, of course, the money supply issues and all the economic jargon surrounding bringing out this money as we need, and the impact on other prices such as inflation rate and exchange rate. That is the duty of central bank to continue to regulate, but we can only talk for the private sector. The reason why it is difficult for local businesses to compete with their counterparts abroad when they come in, majorly, we have issue of specialization and skill, but majorly it is access to fund.
And the interest
These guys come into the country with cheap interest rates, some of them zero, with long moratorium to even pay back the principal without any interest. But here, you are competing at 30%. When you agree to pay the 30%, the fund is not available.
Okay, but something very interesting, it came up during the week, and I'm talking about SME funding. The capital market operators around the world under the umbrella of IOSCO. IOSCO is International Organization for Securities Commission, and they are saying that they would assist SMEs to get funds through the capital market. And I think that's something very interesting to look out for going forward. But let's just move on to the issue of power. We've seen the unbundling of the PHCN. We've seen private sectors coming to take advantage and buy some stakes and take over some distribution companies, generating companies across the country. But how do you think they've done so far? It's just a few months since that was done, that was executed. But how would you assess the performance, and what do you think should be done to increase the effectiveness going forward?
We can say that in terms of power sector reform, like we saw with the telecom sector reform, Nigeria is in the right, it's on the right path. It can only take some time, and we also want to inform the viewers that these sectors are different. The speed or the time lag it takes for reform to bear its fruit in telecom sector cannot be compared with the power sector. November last year, Nigeria almost completed the power sector privatization with the exception of the transmission part of it. I think we need to still give them time with some benefit of that, and that is why we are still talking about this petroleum industry reform. Because even if they've got it right, the generation is happening, everybody, they have fund. Of course, even federal government, the other day, talk about releasing a huge fund, a special fund for power distribution company, power generation, to clear their debt about 270 billion again. That's a step in the right direction. But we feel that the reform of petroleum industry to make sure that these gas to fire these plants are available at the right price. It's also important, because if these power plants are not working to full capacity, somebody said they are working less than 50% capacity as it is. And if our oil and gas remain what it is today, we'll keep on having challenges post reform and privatization of this industry.
All right, Vincent, time will not permit us to talk about the manufacturing sector. I know that is another big area that we need to work on as a country, and I have to let you go. Our time is up on the program. Thank you, Vincent Nwani.
Thank you very much.
The Director, Research and Advocacy at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We actually talked about the economy at 54. We looked at the positives and the areas that we still need to work on as a country to achieve greater success, both in the long, medium, and short, medium, and long-term basis. And on this note, we say thank you, everyone out there, for also spending time with us on the program. We do appreciate that. We appreciate your time with us on the show. We hope you enjoy your weekend. I am Bolaji Akinwale.